All right, so today we're going to dust off the original Barnyard Builds build from before Barnyard Builds was even a thing, which is my 1973 K5 Blazer. All right, so this is my 1973 K5 Blazer. I'm going to tell you how much it costs to build it, what all we've done to it, and right now I'm going to tell you why I bought it in the first place. When I was like 14, 15, you know, Jeeps are cool, but Jeeps don't have V8s, and Jeeps can't pull a lot of weight or any weight really on a trailer. But Blazers can. They're older. My dad had a 57 Chevrolet when he was a kid, so that kind of got me started on wanting to do old trucks and cars and stuff. I wanted something with a full top. You know, 76 and up Blazers only have the top from here back. So that really put me into that first or second gen Blazer, which would have been 67 to 72. We went and looked at a 72, and the tailgate area literally looked like someone just took a shotgun and just shot the metal out. It was so rusted. So pushed that to the side. I went somewhere with some of the guys from church to a nursing home, and this was sitting outside. Turns out a guy that lives in our town that bought it originally from the Chevrolet dealership in town was moved there because the tornado that had come through the town messed his house up, so his insurance company put him up there. So I left a little note on the windshield and said, call me if you want to sell your Blazer. I'd really like it. So 2 or 3 days go by, his son calls and says, hey, you left a note on my dad's thing. He wants to sell it. He wants $4,000 for it. So I was like, okay, well, I don't really have $4,000 right now. I basically borrowed the money from my parents. So a week or two goes by, and they call me back and say, hey, we'll do $3,000. Would you do three? So went over there and picked it up actually on my sister's birthday, so she never lets me live that down. Went over there, picked him up, went to the bank, did the title work, bought it. It was a burnt orange, similar to this, but not quite this color. It had the stock steel wheels on it. It had a Hickey push bumper and a Hickey Sidewinder winch, which I still have, but obviously we redesigned that Warren bumper to fit the new Warren winch. So we started off like that. It burned a little bit of oil. He said it burned a quart of oil every week. Come to find out, he literally was just going to Hardee's to eat breakfast and coming back to the place. Really, if you drove it a lot, it was like a quart every 200 miles. So we got some heads from my dad's friend and redid the original 350 in here, put a truck cam in, that sort of stuff. I drove it like that all through high school. After that, we put an LS in it my freshman year of college, so we'll go over here and we'll talk about that to start with. All right, so up under here is the 5.3 LS that me and my dad swapped in here along with the 4L60E transmission. We used advanced adapters to hook it to the original MP203 transfer case. This motor we built in the garage. I sent it off and had valve springs put in it, but we put an LS9 camshaft in it, LS6 valve springs, and then we sent it off and had it tuned. After we got it built and been running it for a little bit, we sent it to Carolina Automasters in Burlington and put it on the dyno. It makes about 400 horsepower at the crank and about 375, 400 foot-pounds of torque, so it's pretty stout. It'll cruise on the highway, no problem. That's kind of why we did the overdrive, because I drove this back and forth to college. The whole time I was in college, it was about a 3-hour trip. So we put everything in here. Still haven't done the air conditioning yet, but we've got the ECU over there, all the fuel pump relays, all that good stuff. And it does have a dual battery setup, which apparently that battery box is broken, so I guess I'll start on that soon. We put LS1 heads on this not long ago. You saw that in the head upgrade video, but those things are awesome. They have way bigger intake and exhaust ports and valves than the original heads did, so we still need to go back to the dyno and get that tuned in. This thing will probably crank out a lot more horsepower than it was before because it can actually breathe now. But we put the LS in here. All right, so the seats are really just shoulder belts or something that we had to do before I was allowed to drive this every day. I could either bolt them to the roll bar or do 5 points or whatever I wanted to do, but I had to have a shoulder belt before I was allowed to drive it because my parents did halfway love me, at least. So what we ended up doing is getting these I guess you'd call them, like, they're from a cat eye or whatever heck you want to call it, 2000 to 2007 Suburban. Front seats, really Suburban, Tahoe, Silverado, the front seats are all the same. All right, so these back seats are pretty trick. We just took a piece of, I think that's 1.5 or 2 inch tubing, and took the quick releases out of a Suburban, and then we did the same for the back, and we used a little bit shorter piece of pipe so that your head doesn't hit the ceiling. But that's pretty much the same rake as in a Suburban. That thing pops out in and out in about 5 seconds, just like a Suburban does. It folds down, flips up, stays out of the way. So that's a really cool trick thing we did. So we had shoulder belts in the back seat as well. You can see how we fabbed these up. We just used the original bolt holes and took these flat plate bars and bolted everything, the seat to those, and bolted them to the bottom. And then we've got extra washers and stuff down the bottom so they don't pull out, as well as the tabs that bolt to the seatbelt holes there. So that'll be really similar to how we're going to do the High Country seats in the Super Dually here later on. These seats came, I got them in the factory GM like tan color. Probably 4 or 5 years ago now. I went to leatherseats.com, messaged them. They were super helpful. They sent me pretty much every color they had. This color right here, this kind of brown, really matched well with what I wanted to go with, which is kind of a mock High Country seat. They really helped me out with this logo. This is the High Country logo, pretty much, but it says Cheyenne. I wanted to do that because this Blazer is a Cheyenne trim model, and I really like how the High Country seats have that mountain in it. So we ended up with this right here. This dash right here is a TMI dash. When I bought them, they were like $300 or $400. Now, thanks to politics and inflation, this is like a $1,200 dash pad. So we're going to try to get one for the Super Dually, but it might be a little while before we get those. Obviously, put a new Bluetooth radio in it. Found the much desired cup holder console, because before it basically had 3 slots for 3 packs of cigarettes and no cup holders. So we got rid of that and put in these nice seats right here, or these nice cup holders here. And I just told you wrong. The reason they have the slots is they actually hold the other part of the lap belt slides right in there. So it's not for cigarettes, only the center section. The other thing I had to do before I could drive this truck was to put a roll bar in it. So I went down to a place in Jacksonville, North Carolina that's not around anymore, and they built me this roll bar, which is a little bit more stout than the factory, because the factory didn't really ever have these kickers that go to the wheel wells. Then I just changed this foam out every couple years, and then of course we used to have the KC lights mounted up there, but we moved them up front. Still looking for a set of these. If you got a set of chrome daylighters with the sunglasses covers, because those are the only ones that are cool, hit me up. I'd love to buy them from you. If you're going to scam me like the last guy, don't even bother message me. So as you can see, the ostrich side panels here from the factory, it had a wood trim insert right there, and these right here were pretty bad shape when I got them. So my granddad cut me out new panels, and then my grandma reupholstered these with this cool looking ostrich. So something similar, probably going to carry it over to the crew cab, but my grandma made these and put them all together for me, so they look pretty sweet. We did do a rubber floor in here. We dynamatted. It's getting pretty cracked up now. It's been here for probably 4 or 5 years, so we're going to pull that out, put some more dynamite down, and put some new rubber floor. We just like the rubber floor for going hunting and stuff. It's a lot easier than keeping the carpet clean. One of the last things that we've done to the Blazer is we took this Warren Transformer bumper, cut it, built it, kind of mocked it off the Hickey bumper I had, put some nice beefy Schedule 40 pipe in here, and made it big enough to fit this Warren Xeon 12. Shout out to Warren, we need that Xeon 14S for the Super Dually. If y'all want to send it to us, that'd be awesome. Anyways, we mocked this up, bolts to the frame exactly how the Hickey one did. It's got plenty of bracing, even kept the tow hooks from Hickey, and then put this Xeon 12 in here. So if y'all are ready, we're going to go quickly through how much all this stuff costs to do. All right, so price rundown on the Blazer. Paid $3,000 for the Blazer. We talked about that already. I got the heads and the stuff for free, so the camshaft cost me like 120 bucks from Summit for the first motor, for the original motor that was in here. Got an intake for free, all that sort of stuff like that, so that worked out pretty well for me. When we went to do the LS transmission, motor, all the mounts, everything, I kept all the receipts, and it came up to be about $5,000 for the LS swap. So that brings us up to $8,000. The seats I think all in, the seats were about 800 bucks. And then when I reupholstered them a couple years later, about $1,200 for the upholstery and getting it put on. Wheels, obviously they're Mickey Thompson's, so 400 bucks for the wheels. Tires, third set of tires I put on here, so you can't really count tires. Paint job on this truck, I did have it painted when I got out of college. It's kind of my own graduation present to myself. That was 7,500 bucks. They did the roof, they put the stripe in here. That included the new side trim, new emblems, new hood, tailgate, all that sort of stuff. Then the Warren Transformer bumper, I think I paid like 300 bucks off a marketplace for it, and then I bought $40 for the pipe. So whatever the math is on that, because I don't know. Then we put the winch in here. I think we paid, with these winches are like 1,200 bucks, I believe. This is a 12S. The reason I went with the 12S was just to keep the weight down on the front of the truck. I don't pull like a bunch of stuff with this thing where I'm going to be rubbing on rocks and trees and stuff, and I'll be worried about this cable. But the Super Dually is going to get cable for sure. That's pretty much everything on this truck. We're going to add some stuff to it later on, so we'll keep you posted on that. But overall, if you got any questions, just hit us up in the comments. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. And make sure to comment if you got any chrome KC daylighters, because they don't make them anymore, and I'd like a couple more sets to go on the roll bar. Other than that, thanks for all your support, and let us know what you'd like to see in the future.